Welcome. Welcome back to another edifying lesson. Let's get right into it. So we've got some gang stalking going on. Community participation to bully and torture. It's been going on for decades. Because truth sounds like hate to those that hate the truth. And every single person involved in what's going on with myself and my family is a liar and a hater. And they just proved it again last Thursday evening for 45 minutes. So what's happened is irreparable harm, and they're continuing to cause irreparable harm. Harm that can't be fixed by money. Now they're continuing to cause irreparable damage to both Jack's reputation and this woman's reputation. This has been going on for way too long. This irreparable damage is so bad that there's no way it can be repaired or put right. That's the purpose of their existence, though. The wicked hate the righteous. They seek to end our lives and the enjoyment of our lives. Well, it's legally it's defined as war crimes. You've got forced adoption, that's a war crime. And then, of course, they came for our land and our home and everything. I mean, there is nothing left. Jack's estate, my estate. So, of course, there's coven file numbers. There's 2 of them there. This is war. War between the righteous and the wicked. War between the living and the dead. That's what's going on here. So let's see here. We're talking about life sentences. Okay, so when considering life sentences, what's going on here? We got cruelty, brutality, unusual violence, terrorizing and torturing, well, this woman over a period of time, and her son and her spouse, intentional and prolonged repeated violence, acts needlessly repeated or lack of feeling suggesting sadistic intent to cause terror and even torture, intentional infliction of pain, fright, panic that is tantamount to torture solely for the gratification or other perverse reasons, cruelty and callousness not frequently encountered, deliberate infliction of brutality, disfiguring life-threatening injuries. Basically, we're talking about stark horror. So I, like the other members of our family, you know, this is why it's written that they hate us without a cause. There's absolutely no reason, you know, logically for all of this to go on except for the fact that it's written. That's why this happens. To this very, very small group of men and women who are here to witness. We're a witness against the wicked. First the word witnesses against the wicked. Then we witness against the wicked. And then the wicked are the ones. The third witness that they witness against themselves, don't they? Because you need 3. 3 signatures to send a fucking monkey out. Either to a cage or a coffin, but one way or another, they gotta go. Hatred. Oh, here we go. Oh, we've got somebody pretending to be the Supreme Court of Canada here. Let's see what this thing has to say. Emotion of an intense and extreme nature that is clearly associated with vilification and detestation. Hatred against identifiable groups thrives on insensitivity, bigotry, and destruction of both the targeted group and of the values of our society. Hatred is an emotion that, if exercised against members of an identifiable group, implies that those individuals are to be despised, scorned, denied respect, and made subject to ill treatment on the basis of group affiliation. Oh yeah, okay. Hate-motivated crimes. Let's see. Oh, this is from the RCMP. Let's see what they have to say about this. Hate-motivated crimes. Hate crime is a criminal act against a man or a woman and their property that is motivated in whole or in part by hate or bias against these, you can identify these men and women. We've gone over this in other edifying lessons. So others can learn on the off chance they too might be one of these targeted people. Hate crimes don't just affect victims, but the larger community. They have consequences that reach far beyond a specific incident and are particularly concerning because they can be violent and assaultive, cause trauma to everyone around, cause fear of being targeted in future crimes, can escalate in prompt retaliation, can create community unrest, threaten Canada's value of inclusion. Oh yeah, well, you know what? Our people don't want to be included in what you got going on here. But you make all these claims that you want to include all groups of men and women, and then groups of humans. But that's not our experience at all. Types of hate-motivated crime. Well, that's forced adoption, and then, of course, coming for our home, and absolutely everything. And there are, fucking hundreds of humans legally defined as monsters who have done this to Jack and myself and AJ. Definition of criminal victimization. Violent victimization. SA, robbery, physical assault. Right. So SA, forced, attempted, unwanted. Right. Exactly. Robbery, yeah, been there. Physical assault, always there. Theft of personal property, well, there is nothing left. Nothing. Right. Household victimization, break and enter, yep. Theft of our house cars, yes. Theft of household property and vandalism, yes. Well, West Shore ULOC just decided to do the unthinkable. And there is no such thing as West Shore ULOC. What you got is a group of individuals there who wouldn't listen. And we're told that, no, you don't breach that door. You don't touch anything inside that space. You don't have that right. And if you do that, you will be causing irreparable harm. Break and enter. Constantly. Theft of our house cars. Theft of, vandalism. Well, everything's inside that locker that was touched by someone other than the woman you're listening to. Every item is vandalized. I mean, how many counts of vandalism would that be? Avoiding complicity in mistreatment by Foreign Entities Act. Torture and other cruel and inhumane, well, Victoria's not a human, our people aren't humans, or degrading treatment or punishment of others is an affront to Canadian values and opposed by the Government of Canada in the strongest terms. Well, I tell you what, your actions prove why these words mean nothing. Mean nothing. These public serpents have been doing this for over 100 years. And they talk about truth and reconciliation. Well, if you're still doing the same fucking thing, you're not going to be talking about truth and reconciliation. You're still kidnapping our sons and our daughters and destroying lives. You're still stealing land that doesn't belong to you, so you can use it for criminal activities like money laundering and mortgage fraud, and making sure these public parasites here, pretending to be these municipalities, which are nothing but criminal organizations, so the shareholders can all get rich. Geneva Conventions, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Degrading Treatment and Punishment. You don't follow any of that. It's all written down for you. It's all the written word. And either you can't understand the written word, or you just don't fucking care. Like, what was your grade in school for comprehension? Do you not understand the written word? This is why it's all written down for you. This is why our people wrote down what happened to us when we were here. Yeah, we're called scribes. We wrote the script. Torture. Okay, well, I would be an expert on that. And so would Jack and AJ. Because the three of us are the ones that have been completely fucking destroyed and have had our lives destroyed because of torture, mistreatment, cruel, degrading treatment and punishment. What is all this about? It's an affront to Canadian values. Oh, opposed by the government of Canada in the strongest terms. No, it isn't. Oh, but you got to make it look pretty. So you pretend like, okay, I see. Yeah, we get ya. Torture every official or every person acting at the instigation of or with the consent or acquiescence of an official who inflicts torture on another is guilty, and apparently going to a cage for 14 years. Torture means any act or omission by which severe pain and suffering, whether physical or mental, is intentionally inflicted. Right. Well, I don't know. Well, according to the fucking piece of shit who spewed the fucking barf all over me there for 20 minutes on Thursday evening, apparently there's 400 hours up of a witness to torture. Are you listening? Well, you're fucking not learning anything if you are listening, because you keep doing the same fucking thing. And you, motherfucker, are guilty of torture. Oh, you fucking right you are. Oh, we're going to find out your name. We're going to make sure the public knows your name. The public needs to be fucking made aware of you, high-risk fucking offender. You like to tell lies, do you? Is that why Victoria was sitting in a fucking cage? Because you need to fucking write down all those lies you told? I was sitting right there, listening to the hatred that's coming out of the files of these criminal organizations acting as Vic and Saanich PD, and basically fucking public files, all filled with lies, told by liars. Congratulations, you fucking piece of shit. Male monster, obviously with serious fucking mental health issues, dude. Are you aware that you're not allowed to be a malicious witness? And you don't fucking join hooves with other malicious witnesses to then back up their ugliness? Were you fucking born in a barn? Like, who raised you? Torture. Well, here we go. Any act by which severe pain and suffering, physical, mental, intentionally inflicted, for the reason based on discrimination of any kind. Well, this is what the whole thing is, isn't it? When such pain or suffering is inflicted by or at the instigation of or with the consent or acquiescence of the public servants or another person acting in official capacity. Yeah, well, that's what we have going on here. Well, we're strangers, right? But you know we're dealing with the narcissists, and so they don't listen. They just argue with what they think you're saying. Well, we don't argue. Like, the truth is not up for argue. Like, we're not up for a debate. We're not debating. You know, there's no debate here. There's no arguing. The truth isn't an argument. The common law isn't an argument. And yet, you know, one of the reasons why Victoria is having such a difficult time is the amount of time she spends and energy trying to address and solve and correct all the ugliness that is the public servants and their so-called fucking services, which are not services at all. And, well, let's see. It doesn't work, does it? They can't hear. And even if they could, they refuse to listen. If they do listen, you know, they're not going to fucking act properly. But they're monsters, man. Monsters have no brain, which means monsters can't see and monsters can't hear. You think monsters don't have hearts? Monsters have absolutely no capacity for love or compassion or kindness at all. Isn't that right, Dean Duthie and Del Manick and David Eby and Daniel Carroll and Graham Mack? Oh, you've got names, and we're going to make sure the public is aware of who you are, because you're violent, repeat, high-risk offenders. Anti-racism and hate response training, well, there is no training. They're not training them at all. So this is a joke. Rights of persecuted people in Canada. Persecution is a crime defined as severe discrimination, resulting in denial and infringement of fundamental rights. Well, how much more do you need to hear? We've been going over this for a while now, haven't we? Am I sick about all of this to continually have to fucking repeat? Yes, of course. You know, it wouldn't be like a righteous woman to have to repeat like a broken record. And yet, our people end up in that position. And it's recorded that we end up in that position, that we continually have to fucking shove the truth down these fucking monsters' throats. Coercive control. Well, here you go. It's an act or pattern of acts of assault, threats, humiliation, intimidation, or other abuse that's used to harm, punish, or frighten. Controlling behaviors designed to make our people dependent by isolating them from support, exploiting, depriving of our independence, regulating our everyday lives. Coercive control creates invisible change and a sense of fear that pervades all elements of our lives. It works to limit our cultural rights by depriving us of our freedom and reducing our ability for action. So that's why within 10 fucking months we've had brainless beasts severely fucking, like, they're suffering from some type of schizophrenia or something along those lines, some type of retardation. Because 3 times in 10 months to do this, because that's what you're doing. It's coercive control. You just can't fucking stop telling those lies, can you? Who's most impacted? Well, our people would be. Righteous people are the ones most impacted. Women, apparently. Women are violently victimized at a rate nearly double. Oh, yeah? Really? Well, that is so not okay. You don't ever come after the vulnerable. Like, that is unforgivable. That's like you're going to be outside. Do you understand outside? If you're not inside, you're outside, and you don't want to be outside. But you did it to yourself. You fucking did it to yourself. Ethnic origin. Well, that's part of the reason why our people are hated. It's our righteous roots. We don't belong here, but we're here. We've got something to do when we're here. Cultural discrimination, unjust treatment based on someone's cultural background. Well, that's why our lives are written down. So there's a written history. You know, there's a pattern of behavior towards our people. How do you prove it? Well, take a look. I mean, haven't we gone over it? There's absolutely no doubt about what's going on here. Oh, but these characteristics are protected from discrimination? Are they? Well, we haven't found that at all. Not even close. What's considered ethnic origin? Ethnic or cultural origin of our ancestors. Based on a shared understanding of history and territorial origins of an ethnic group. Well, that's us. Ethnic discrimination. Refusal to provide services. Constantly. Well, the services wouldn't be, like, appropriate for our people. I mean, like, those are services created by heathens for heathens, to serve the heathens. That we wouldn't be helped, and we haven't been helped at all by any of the services provided. Service, you know what that means, right? Well, because it's just, and now they're doing it again. They're doing more fraud on the court. And this whole thing about this Section 15, it's just such fucking bullshit. Well, an individual is a corporation. So that right there tells you that the dead only deal with the dead. Kind has to deal with kind. Which is why there's a systemic issue with our people trying to go in there and stop what these fucking monsters are doing to our families and our wealth, that we work hard for. Righteous people are a blessing to the community. We're not a burden, we're a blessing. So we're equal before and under, and have equal, hold on here, and right to equal protection and equal benefit without discrimination. Yeah, no, fucking just fuck off with it. Forced adoption is genocide. Well, as a woman who suffers, not suffers. This woman doesn't suffer. No. As a woman who lives with that pain every day, there's no doubt about it. And they know that, and they know why they're doing it. They thrive on it. Because the common law is crystal clear about the punishment for that. It's a capital punishment crime. Like, you're not kidnapping and then selling or keeping a living soul. And they do that all the time. So, do not. It's like, don't fail to report evil by wrongdoers who aren't following the common law, which is to protect both life and property. And they have a problem when I say something. There's my blessing right there. Well, it's about blasphemy, right? You cause harm. If you cause harm, that's blasphemy. That's what it is. It's an action. It's an act. It's an act of causing irreparable harm. You can't fix that. I'm not going to cry. I'm not. Forced disappearances, well, that's what happens. That's what they do. They take them, and they break your bond, and they brainwash them, and then they disappear them, and you never see them again. June the 15th, 2010 was the last time I kissed him and hugged him. And it was a supervised visit, so it was actually like a satanic abuse ritual. Because he was telling me he was being abused, and when I reported that abuse, all of a sudden, they don't want him feeling safe. They don't want anybody fighting for him. They don't want anybody protecting him. So when you say something about what they're telling you is happening to them, which you have to do, that's just absolutely not on. Do you understand that? State actors. Refusal to provide any information whatsoever. That's right. It's just a complete severing from your life. Systematic oppression. It's a tool used by fucking tyrants, the toxic terrors. So this has been my life for 5 decades. It's all of this abuse and this hatred and just constant violence. So let's see here. This is from March the 4th. So it looks like Joanne Grenier has spoken to my sister and informed my sister that I cannot raise, rear, and nurture my son. And not because I'm abusive, not because, there's absolutely nothing wrong with me, nothing, but just because that's what they do. It's discrimination, it's hate. And then they were talking to someone else, and they told that someone else that he would never be coming home. Ever. There was never a plan in place for him to come back home where he belongs. There never was. Not for 1 second. So that's discrimination. And here's July 2nd. Yeah, they've had a hearing. Yeah, they certainly have. They certainly have. Well, I I heard it all. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I heard it all. Thank you. So, of course, I'm working overtime, going everywhere, wasting time, wasting energy, trying to deal with all of this. And here we are. We've gone to the Human Rights Tribunal, which not be a service that would be appropriate for our people because we're not humans. Humans are legally defined as monsters, and monsters don't have rights. So this is actually a joke service, and there's countless witnesses that this is a joke. And so here we are. We've got Linda Thayer. Oh, yeah, we've got its name written in all capital letters, and it should be. And so what you need to know about British Columbia is a corporation. The BC Human Rights Tribunal, if we took a look and we did a deep dive, we could probably find out that that's also a corporation. What we know is that the province of British Columbia, sorry, we already went over that, but the Ministry of Children and Family Development, that's a corporation. Its Majesty, the Queen or the King, that's a corporation. So a corporation can't lawfully engage in the practice of law, nor can it do so indirectly through the employment of qualified lawyers. One witness isn't enough. You have to have 2 or 3, and there is 2 here. A corporation can neither practice law nor hire lawyers to carry on the business of practicing law for it. So what is this thing doing here, this Linda Thayer? Does this Linda Thayer have any first-hand knowledge of what's going on? Did this Linda Thayer ever speak to this woman? No. No, not once, not ever. But it was certainly all about committing an act of genocide. And so was this Glenn Glannis. Here's another one. Now, if we looked, more than likely, this University of Victoria, well, that's absolutely got to be a corporation. You know, it's for profit. And here's the thing I have heard again and again, but from these monsters, you know, good luck or best of luck, because this is a game to them. Yeah, your life and your happiness and your health is just a fucking game. Yeah, good luck. Good luck with that. I heard it again on Thursday evening. Yeah, good luck. So on Thursday, there was a conversation between myself, there was 2 males and a female. The defense counsel on duty that day was a male. The monster impersonating the Crown in the public was a male, and then there was a female. So my son was removed in March 2009. So apparently, according to this, other families are being compensated. They will divvy up $20 billion if they had their children taken between April 1st, 1991 and March 31st, 2022. And yet my family, here's the claim. This is January the 6th, 2020, because I'm trying to stop them from the second act of fraud on the court to commit genocide against Jack, myself, and AJ. So this is filed to stop them from doing that. That's why we've got Daniel Carroll and Gray Mack. Well, and they can't be. We just read that they can't be solicitors for CIBC. CIBC is a corporation. Fulton Company is a corporation. And all of those corporations that are listed here at the very top of this, well, those are all fictions. They don't exist. But what does exist are the public serpents that pretend to be. You know, they put those hats on. And then magically they're all of a sudden above the law, apparently. But we don't agree with that. So whoever is aware of evidence in a case must speak up and testify. So that's exactly what I was doing on March the 6th. And on February 11th, 2021, see what happened was they ignored it. There would have been, there was affidavits and exhibits attached. And they didn't do any of the work that they were supposed to do, not at all. They just ignored everything. They didn't do what they were supposed to do according to their own rules. So they just swooped in, and they used a rule that they can't use. And they got rid of it all. They didn't need my consent, apparently. And they extorted another $500, or they ordered the extortion of another $500, and there was no justice served at all. And they've got names. It was a joke. I mean, I've got the second ritual taped and uploaded to YouTube. A good part of it, where they're just fucking, it's a circular conversation of go nowhere fast. So what we know about Johnny Van Camp, which is the Council for the Majesty there, and which is a corporation, and the province of British Columbia is a corporation. See, what's going on here is that Rebecca Watmott and this other Carolyn Book and this Chelsea Mack, who spoke for the genocide guilty war criminals, Daniel Carroll and Grain Mack, first of all, not a one of them has first-hand knowledge of what's going on. Not one. So they have no standing. They have no subject matter jurisdiction and no personal jurisdiction in this to fucking say anything, let alone open that fucking hole in their face. Because what we know is that corporations can't lawfully engage in the practice of law, nor hire any of these fucking snakes to practice law for them. So what's going on here? Another railroading? I mean, denial is an integral part of the abuser. When confronted, they shift the blame and avoid the topic altogether. Well, we're not going to deal with these acts of genocide against you, Victoria, and your family. We're not going to deal with any of this, Victoria. We're above the law, Victoria. We are the law. So when I was kidnapped after being violently assaulted last Thursday, I'm dealing with this fucking mindless, mentally deranged monster, Nick Murray. And Nick Murray says to me, I am the law. No puke. You are the lawless. That's what you are. You see, that's how sick and twisted you are. You don't even know what you are. You don't even know who you are. First of all, you're a fucking monster. So you got that all wrong. And second of all, you're lawless. Like fucking completely lawless. You have been involved in every single fucking violent assault against this innocent woman. And we're fucking, literally fucking gleeful as you were doing it. You need help. You cannot be employed. You cannot be employed, like, at all, period. You're unemployable. You can't. Just, no. Oh, so see, Johnny Van Camp goes around making sure that if there's any claim of misfeasance in public office, and anyone's looking for redress for egregious intentional misconduct, maladministration, official incompetence, or bad judgment in the execution of public duties. See, Johnny goes in there and makes sure that all these fucking savages are absolved of their guilt. Johnny is into acquitting the guilty. That's what Johnny does all day. Legal counsel. Oh, we're sorry, you can't do that. BC Attorney General, that's a corporation. They can't hire you. That's not the way it works. We're sorry. Don't you understand anything? So if you want to ignore, well, there's an express trust and an implied trust. This isn't the implied trust right here. This is Jack speaking to me. Again, whatever you want is yours. That's the way it works legally as well, by the way. Whatever belongs to the man belongs to the woman. What belongs to the woman belongs to the man. So nothing changes when one of them passes. Everything stays the same. That's the man speaking to me, and there's our home. What happened to our home? Well, we know what happened to our home. What did they do to Jack's good name? Jack left a legacy of a righteous man. Jack took care of his responsibilities. Trust me, I'm not a woman who can hang around a piece of shit for any length of time. That's just not happening. No, thank you. And so here's what's hilarious. These vagrants, which is all these BARF members, they're all vagrants. They have repealed vagrancy because they're all guilty. So what's vagrancy? It's those who support themselves in whole or in part by gaming or crime and have no lawful profession or calling by which to maintain themselves. Oh, okay. So that's exactly what all these barf members are doing. It's a game. That's why I fucking keep hearing, well, good luck. Right? Because this is a game. This is what we do. We play games. And they don't have any fucking lawful profession. Legal is not law. It's got nothing to do with law. It's fucking full-on witchcraft 101. Don't fail to report evil by wrongdoers not following the common law or testify in investigation against those who refuse the common law. Well, this is why she says something. And now we know what happens, right? Because you know what's hilarious? These fucking parasites actually believe that they're privileged. They actually fucking believe that they are privileged, and yet they are a fucking pathogen. They're a viroid, all right. A fungus, absolutely. It's the fucking filthy fascist fungus flock is what it is. They're a fucking virus. They feed off of the living. They feed off of our sons and daughters, off of our wealth, off of our fucking good nature. I mean, well, a pathogen is a politician. A pathogen is a police officer. A pathogen, a priest. I mean, come on. This is the age of information. There's no way to hide what they're up to. Where are all our sons and daughters going? What are you doing with them? Well, we happen to know what you're doing with them. You're parasites. You know where these fucking pigs wear black? Because they're the new black plague. I just fucking dealt with them for 12 hours on Thursday again, after being violently fucking assaulted. Because on June the 6th, I called the Vancouver police because these public serpents need to be held accountable. Oh, the craft? Is it a craft of taking private property? Attorneyism. Oh, okay. Oh, clever, are we? Oh, okay. Well, I think I've read something about that in 2 Corinthians 12:16. Crafty fellow that I am, I caught you by trickery. Well, you didn't catch this woman because she knows that you're a fucking snake. The practice of attorneys is seizing private property. Well, that's like a charter breach. That's like Section 8 charter breach. You can't come in and just fucking seize people's properties. Oh, but you're doing it twice a week. Fucking congratulations. Miss Nevins, if you talk to a liar. Miss Nevins, if you talk to a liar. Oh, we've heard that lots. The law license is a myth. Oh, well, yes, it is, actually. It's slavery repackaged through paperwork and fiction. It's the crime of personage, false identification. No contract, license, or registration can override natural law. Even the UN Declaration, fucking human rights, no thank you, states this in Article 4. No one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Slavery and the slave trade shall be prohibited in all their forms. And yet, it happened again. When I am kidnapped, that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to hold me to serve one of their satanic rituals, to be a part of this. And I can't. And I won't. Oh, they've got a license, do they? Well, what does that mean? That means without regard to law, ethics, and the rights of others, unrestrained by law or general morality, lawless, immoral. Well, that's exactly who they are. And by the way, they only deal with the dead. They can only deal with what's dead. They only deal with persons, and a person's a corporation, or individuals, which is another corporation. To turn means they're going to steal from you and turn it over to themselves and all their buddies. Their barf member buddies. CBC's a corporation. Check out these profits. So Jack and I had a credit line. Right? This is what the whole fucking issue was about. Jack and I had a credit line of $40,000. That $40,000 didn't exist until Jack and I created that $40,000 by using our purchasing power. That was never a debt for CIBC. It was an asset. It didn't exist until Jack and I created it. And yet they claimed it's a debt. By the way, which they have insured. So they never lost anything. And it wasn't a mortgage. So this is a corporation. Oh, they've got shareholders. Huh. Yes, we know you do. Oh, they're here. Look at this. I'm here representing this fictional entity. It's personally informed me that it's been grievously harmed. And then, of course, there's like, well, somebody with half a brain in their head that's functioning properly. Oh, the mentally malfunctioning lawyer needs a psychiatric evaluation. Is talking to paper claiming it filed a complaint. There they are outside. The dogs, the witches, the immoral, the murderers, the adulterers, and everyone who loves to tell lies and do wrong. Well, boom, there you go. That's them. The dogs, what's that? The godless, the impure, those of low moral character. Intoxicating drugs and magic arts, the perverts, the molesters, the adulterers. Everyone who loves and practices lying. Well, who's that? We know who that is. Corporate crime. White-collar crime. Well, they're vagrancy, right? We just went through vagrants related to corporate crime. Crime committed by those who identify with crime and make crime their sole livelihood. Like bank solicitors, the soulless, well, the sadists, right? They're vagrants. They could never go out in the world and actually get like a legitimate job. And so they become liars. And remember what we said about corporations can't lawfully engage in the practice of law, nor can it do so indirectly through the employment of qualified liars. There's no such thing as a qualified liar, by the way. Fictions don't act. Jokers and pirates do. And when they steal, under the color of fiction, it's still theft. Oh, look at this. It's Carol calling. Oh, I thought you were Mr. or Mrs. Royal Bank. No, I'm calling on behalf of it. Well, how can you be calling on behalf of it when it's a fiction? Do you notice that these monsters actually look like different types of animals? Like this one here looks like a rat. Oh, so this is Daniel Carroll here. So this is the letter sent out September 28th, 2018. And it doesn't come by process server, because this is a commercial shakedown. This is a commercial matter. This isn't a judicial matter. This is an administrative process where they're just going to fucking steal everything Jack and I own. Your loan is in default. We are the solicitors. Who are we? You? Your? We don't have a loan with you. What are you talking about? Automatic withdrawals have been canceled. So how's there's a default if there's automatic withdrawals? How has there been a default then? And why the fuck would we pay you? Who the fuck are you anyway? You want to take this $40,000 and pay it to you? Well, why the fuck would I do that? You see what I'm talking about here? With these fucking snakes? These fuckers are everywhere, by the way. So then, at the end of November, this is application and title fraud. They're actually trying to claim that a fictional corporation is now owning Jack and I's home. Yeah, see, they just fucking... some witchcraft here. They committed some witchcraft, performed some witchcraft, and fucking magically, all of a sudden, Daniel Carroll and Graham Mack now own Jack and I's home. They're wearing the fucking mask of CIBC. And they know there's a trust. They know they can't get around the trust. They know the trust is bulletproof. They know all the legal rules about fucking trusts. That's why they've got it blacked out. So that's fraudulent concealment. Oh, but don't worry, your buddy there, fucking David Masahara, was all about you and your fucking crimes. Your crimes to commit genocide against Jack and I. So you don't give false testimony in a lawsuit or investigation. When you're like providing witness, you have to speak the truth. And you don't go around lying that Jack and I owe you fucking $40,000 that we don't, because we don't. So here's case law. This is some case law right here. So I'm going to put this link in the description box after this gets uploaded, and you can go in here and you can read this. So the one on the bottom is very, very interesting. Well, it's all about like the consequences of like, you know what's going on and you're going to just ignore this? So moreover, in closing argument at trial, the trial judge was specifically referring to a decision that he had authored 2 months earlier, just something to do with TD Bank, involving knowing assistance and willful blindness. It has long been held that actual knowledge of fraud also extends to parties who are willfully blind of the fraud or who are recklessly as to its existence. They are each equivalent to each other in terms of the consequences that flow from having such knowledge and failing to act upon it. All right, so that's Delmanic, that's David Eby, that's the Chief Justice here, Melissa Gillespie, that's, I think it was Peter Joke. They all knew. Half dozen benchers, they all took part in destroying Jack and I. Oh, the Police Act, right, okay. Common law, they're talking about common law. They don't do any of that, by the way. Because this is all the work Victoria's tried to put in to stop all of this, because obviously she has to say something. So the first court file number, that's fucking Daniel Carroll coming in to do a fraud on the court. And then police file number from 2019, that's December 2019. It took a package of information of proof beyond reasonable doubt down to Delmanic. And they, go fuck yourself. That was the attitude. So then I have to go and I have to try to stop it again. So January 6, 2020, I showed you that. And then again, November 2021, I went to Saanich Police, or the criminals acting as that corporation. And, we see what's still gone on, right? Because everyone who is a party to an offense who actually commits it does or omits to do anything for the purpose of aiding any person to commit it or abets any person in committing it. So this is one of the dozens of sections of the criminal code that apply to the situation that is happening right now is to, lawful reasons for noncompliance. You are warned that unless you have lawful excuses, there's no excuses here. We've got a whole bunch of reasons. Because what we've got here is gross pathogenic misconduct. Inappropriate conduct and illegal actions taken by the pathogens in connection with their official duties. That's what's going on here. January the 16th, 2020, Francisco Avails. So the criminal real estate agent, Bradley Walker, hand delivers you have 13 days to get out of your home, your family's home, and we know we've stolen all of the fucking money. So we know you don't have a dime to do what we're asking you to do, and we know that you can't do that. So what does it do? It calls up and lies. It fabricates evidence and calls up the snakes here, acting as the pathogens over here in the district of Saanich. And guess who's assaulted? It happens constantly. And then I'm like, I said something, and all of a sudden, Avails there, it's got a fucking monkey mind short circuit, and it starts to attack. Well, I'm Section 90 of the Mental Health Act. Well, why the fuck would you do that? I'm not leaving my home. You're not going to steal a night in my home from me. And you need my consent, bitch. You need my consent. And then the threats and the violence. I'll put you in cuffs then. This is who they are. This is what they do. So here's a text message. So if that's in the morning at 7:30 a.m., I'm texting and explaining what's happened to me. Because you understand that the snakes over there, the pathogens, have a financial crimes department. And isn't that funny that they won't investigate this? And yet they knew in January 2020. Because March 19th, 2020, guess who's at Jack and Victoria's home during a ban on forced evictions? Because you have to make sure that money laundering goes on, and you have to make sure there's at least 2 fraudulent fucking mortgages on Jack and I's home. Isn't that right, Daniel Carroll and Peter Innes? So rule of law, right? Law maxims. And error not resisted is approved. So this is why Victoria continues to say something. So the Canadian Victims' Bill of Rights, reporting the offense. For the purpose of subsection 1, if an offense is reported to the appropriate authorities in the criminal justice system, the investigation of the offense is deemed to begin at that reporting, at the time of their reporting. That has never happened, ever, when I have reported crime against myself and my son and my spouse. That has never happened once, not ever. So here we've got November 27th. That's when the two criminals who were in possession of stolen property right now also find out that they're in possession of stolen property. I go over there, and I'm absolutely attacked for reporting crime. I'm threatened, I'm harassed, I'm made to be in fear. So now they're hiding an offense. Now they're impeding my attempt to save life because I need to get Jack and I's property out of the locker, out of the storage locker, like as soon as possible. And those are two, well, the conversations with these two fucking pathogens were like, one was less than 5 minutes, one was less than 6 minutes, and what I did provide to them at that time was proof of ownership. Proof of ownership. So now what we have is Mike Duquette and Jeff Bevington. They are beyond all reasonable doubt guilty of parties to an offense, attempts and accessories after the fact, breach of public trust, breach of trust, conspiracy, fraud, mischief to property, intimidation, uttering threats, theft and fraud between, well, you know, it was a $750,000 home, and a public incitement of hatred against this woman who has to stop these crimes. So victims apparently are supposed to have the right to courtesy and respect. Well, we have how many years of uploads on public platforms to prove that that's all a lie? That's all a lie. And here's the Victims' Bill of Rights Act, that you're like, there's a protection in place for you, protection from intimidation and retaliation. And yet why in the last 10 months have the fucking freak flock SWAT team been out on this woman? Why? Why would that happen? Participation? Restitution? None. That's all fucking bullshit and lies. So let's see what happens for other victims of crime in Canada. Let's say Ontario. So apparently, some owners of vintage cars had their property stolen. Apparently 200 of them. And so the victims of the crime went and said something. And the OPP investigated because there was a complaint. Well, our people wouldn't be complaining. We would be making claims. Our people claim. So December 2023, somebody says something. It's actually the partner of the other dude stealing. And this is a transfer of title. Exactly like Daniel Carroll and Graham Mack did. And this is over a 5-year period. That's Service Ontario outlets forging documents, just like Daniel Carroll and Graham Mack did. And then selling to unsuspecting customers. So the OPP charges these dudes with theft and fraud and forgery, and then they go and repossess all the stolen property to give the stolen property back to the true owner. And one of these unsuspecting customers, this is what this individual has to say. They handed me a letter and basically said that if I didn't hand it over, I'm going to be charged with possession of stolen goods. So I didn't have, much of a choice but to let them take it. So that's why Victoria has been consistently and repeatedly at her family's stolen land and home, providing letters, communications with the criminals, that you can't keep committing the same crimes. And then, well, we know what happens. We've got it all uploaded. So why is Victoria treated any differently than anyone else? Because how are we going to prove conspiracy? And is falsely accusing an innocent woman a crime in Canada? Better fucking believe it. Public mischief charges. Well, that's the fucking compulsive lying lunatic impersonating the landlord in Jack and Victoria's home. That fucker's guilty of public mischief. And then, of course, we've got the public serpents out here acting as the corporation district of Saanich. You've got Dean Murdoch, Dean Duthie, and a whole pile of their fucking buddies there. Falsely accusing this woman. Why would you do that? Let's get you some help. Okay, we're going to get you some professional help. You need to get help. You're wired all wrong. You don't attack victims of crime. You're paid to help victims of crime, aren't you? Corporations. Because now we've got them committing perjury, they're fabricating evidence, they're obstructing justice. Yeah, they just did it again on last Thursday. So August the 29th, 2024, domestic terrorists, public serpents. They premeditated the attack so they could steal Jack and Victoria's Mazda. And of course, here's the funny thing on Thursday. Victoria's listening to these persons use pronouns. So they have the right to self-determination, but Victoria doesn't. So if Victoria makes the claim that she's a foreign diplomat, you better fucking believe she can prove that she is a foreign diplomat. And we all know that foreign diplomats are not subject to the jurisdiction of the fucking public snakes anywhere near where they're at or where they've been sent. And yet look at you, eh? You fucking tripled down, hey, Pukes? You tripled down? Because we're dealing with, like, well, you've got angels and demons down here. And these are demons. They're just above everything, right? They're above the rules. And they don't care, right? As long as they get what they want and they harm who they want, they don't care. And if you call them out on their behavior, what they're going to do is they're going to discredit the woman with slander, untrue accusations, and statements that can severely damage this woman's reputation. And all of it's done to make this woman look unstable and unbalanced, and that's exactly what I heard for 20 fucking minutes on Thursday night. From the mouth of this fucking mad monkey impersonating the fucking crown and the public. Well, this is what they do, right? They deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. And retaliation is discrimination. We read that in Section 15. And what was that? The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So they're fucking guilty of breaching the Charter. So did Victoria tell you not on August the 29th? And we've got a half an hour of that fucking satanic ritual abuse attack. We've got half an hour of it. Victoria told you not to commit those crimes. She warned you. She fucking warned you and warned you and warned you not to commit those crimes, but you did it anyway. So if you're warned and you do it anyway, then you're charged with the crime. And it's a severe sentence because you were told, right? You're not the law. You've never been the fucking law. You're never going to be the law. You are the lawless. Right? Mild to fucking severe schizophrenia. And retardation. Like, that's what you're suffering from. Specific circumstances, attempts, conspiracy, and solicitation, aiding and abetting, you're doing all of it. You have been to my family for years. And by the way, you liars, you hate all the men and women that you lie about. That's a hate crime. That's a fucking hate crime. Oh, look, it's the police, the parasites of low intelligence controlling everyone. Section 8. So on August the 29th, you're there without 2 warrants, which you must have because you have to follow due process. Because if you're going to seize this woman, you're going to kidnap this woman, you have to have a warrant. And if you're going to seize Jack and Victoria's Mazda, you have to have a warrant. Did you have a warrant? You had no fucking probable cause. You shouldn't have even fucking been there. Because here we've got some... let's see here. We've got Chief Justice Coke advises the King on behalf of the justices said, Lord Campbell's lives, blah, 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 blah. So the King cannot arrest any man, as laid down in the yearbook, for the party cannot have any remedy against the King. So what the fuck are you doing there? And then you've done this 3 times in 10 months? You're still not learning anything? So you're the lawless then. So you're not the law. Due process of law. There can be no arrest without due process. Arrest without warrant has never been lawful. Well, Victoria's never, ever, ever disturbed the peace in her entire life or caused loss, harm, or injury to person or property. So what the fuck are you doing there and doing? You're lying. So your fucking case is fucked from the outset. Like you have nowhere to go with this. Well, Victoria's not breaching the peace, but we know who was breaching the peace, and now you've done it 3 times within 10 months, and yet I was accused on Thursday. Because we're gonna take your notes from you, okay? We're gonna take your notes from you, and we're gonna get a copy of what was said on Thursday, and we're gonna let the public listen to what you're up to. Because you are violent, high-risk offenders. Like you keep doing the same thing because you haven't learned. You can't treat any foreign diplomat that way. Right? So you are claiming to be the mayor and you are claiming to be the chief. Do you have any proof of authority? So that's just right to self-determination then? So you have that right, but Victoria doesn't have that right? Yeah, we don't fucking think so. Due process of law. An arrest without a warrant. You can't do that. Any law which would place the keeping and safe conduct of another in the hands of even a conservator of the peace, unless for some breach of the peace committed in its presence or upon suspicion of felony, would be the most oppressive and unjust, and destroy all the rights which our Constitution guarantees. These are rights which existed long before our Constitution, and we have taken just pride in their maintenance, taking them a part of the fundamental law of the land. You don't understand any of that, do you? No, we know you don't, because one witness, okay, you don't really have, I don't really have anything to say. 2 times, you're really fucking yourselves now. But the 3rd time you've done this to this foreign diplomat, now you are fucked. You are. You can't be convicted of resisting a pathogen in the execution of its duty unless the criminal was acting strictly within the limits of their powers and duties. If the serpent makes an unlawful arrest, then there's a common law right to resist the arrest. Now, did Victoria resist last Thursday? And Victoria also resisted on the 29th of August, 2024. Because that's her right. That's her common law right to resist what you're doing because she knows you're committing a crime. So that's her right to do. And yet, you've had the fucking nerve to charge this foreign diplomat with resisting? Yeah, see, this is the problem with you. This is why we know you need to get some help. You're sick. You're so sick. And here's the sickest part about your sickness. You don't even realize that you're sick. That's why you're so dangerous. One may come to the aid of another being unlawfully arrested just as they may where one is being assaulted, molested, the worst thing that could happen, or kidnapped. Thus, it's not an offense to liberate one from the unlawful custody of a parasite, even though he may have submitted to such custody without resistance. Well, Victoria doesn't submit to snakes. Victoria doesn't submit to serpents. She has never submitted herself to your fucking cursed custody. And Victoria resists because she's not a criminal, but she knows that you are. So she has every right to do that. But you've had the nerve to lie and try to ruin her reputation. Because what you're doing, it's called assault and battery. So I have every right to try to stop you. Just like I would any other assailant. So, that's right. We have the right to resist unlawful arrests. Because what's happening is, it's you, snakes, that are in the position of the wrongdoer. and you may be resisted by the use of force, as in self-defense. So that's what Victoria did. Every time you've done this. But Victoria was, oh yeah, like I fucking had enough of you. Like I've had fucking enough of you. When I fucking got here close to 52 years ago, I'd had enough of you snakes. Because what you're doing is, you're committing the crime of deprivation of rights under the color of law. You are willfully, knowingly depriving this woman. You're conspiring to willfully deprive this woman and her family of our, well, what you're, the constitutional rights that are supposed to bind you. Because Victoria owes no duty to any of you public serpents. This woman owes no duty to any of you. And she never has, and she never will. Check out the lies. Check out the lies of the liars. The liar society wants everyone to think that they're independent of the government. They're not. They're not. This is how you know they lie. Is the Law Society a government body? Fucking rights it is. Yeah, it's a corporation. Oh, look, this is the best part. The duty of the liar society is to act to protect the public interest, not the interest of the liars it regulates. Well, now you know. I mean, that's just, the whole thing is an out-and-out lie. Because you realize, right, that the pathogens believe that they're privileged. Yeah, they're the sovereign citizens. They're the free monsters on the land. Yeah, they're vexatious litigants. That's exactly what they are. Well, fraud on the court, that's a vexatious litigant. That's what forced adoption and fraud closure is all about. That's exactly what they're doing. Right? That's why we, the people, are referred to as paupers, because they're privileged. So they're privileged to come and just completely fucking destroy you and your life and your family and all your wealth. Because they're pathogens. Virology. Viral. Oh, here, look at, they've got pamphlets. They have to be honest and courteous, keep clients informed, and they can't act in a conflict of interest. Well, if you have a bencher and you've got two other ones there, that's a trifecta, that's a triangle, and each one of them are a member of the BARF, that's a conflict of interest. Yeah, and that's exactly what they do all day, every day. Oh, legal aid liars, government liars, and crown prosecutors? Well, those are all corporations. You can't hire liars to practice witchcraft for you. Because, I mean, seriously. I mean, are you joking? Like, who the fuck are you fooling? The fucking filthy fascist fucking fucktard flock. Like, who are you who are you fooling? Are you fooling yourselves? Well, fucking good luck with that. Well, you ain't gonna be, you don't fool us, okay? Us foreign diplomats, you don't fool us. We fucking know exactly what you are, because look at here, we've got proof that you fucking privileged pukes believe that your neighbors are ants, and that's why you come and do what you do to us. Because you know that you only deal with dead things, right? The only legal person known to our law is the corporation. Right. Like has to deal with like. Kind has to deal with kind. The body corporate. Every single court case is based upon fraud. No bar attorney has any legislative authority to prosecute anyone in any courtroom. The bar attorneys do not know the law. They don't. Fucking proof fucking positive they don't. We just heard them again on Thursday. Completely fucking burying themselves. They fucking do it to themselves. They can't sit at the bench. They live in the color of law. They're a fraud. No one masquerading as a judge or government official can produce proof of their delegation of authority. There is no law allowing them to walk into the courtroom, much less sit at the bench. They have no jurisdiction, not subject matter, not personal. Color of law is not law. That's the statutes. The Criminal Code of Canada is statute. It's fiction for corporate fictions. That's right. It's time to prosecute them under the real law for prosecuting living people under the color of law. They're terrorists. For the foreign crown banks. They're banks. Those courts are banks. Those aren't judicial. Like, those, yeah, no, they're completely, it's a joke. It's we the people. It's we the victims that walk into those courtrooms, not the bar turners. The law says who walks in to those private for-profit stone temples, and that's the victims of the crimes. Because you have to have first-hand knowledge. You have to have first-hand knowledge of what the fuck is going on. And that's the victim. And the victim decides what the punishment is. Not some fucking third-party interloper who doesn't have a fucking clue what's going on, is completely fucking void of any kind of fucking logic about it. Justice is eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Fracture for fracture, stroke for stroke. That's you have to have a balanced scale. So if you're going to come at this woman with violence, you will be met with violence. And that's not a level playing field, because you don't ever come after a woman. You don't ever fucking touch a woman, ever. I don't care what your fucking problem is. Oh, look at this. We've got the clownsel. It's the clowns. It's the fucking circus clowns. Oh, it's here. Let's talk about what they're supposed to be doing. Prosecutes. They're going to prosecute, are they? How are you going to do that? Communities also rely upon and expect the clowns to make decisions in a matter that promotes confidence in the administration of justice. Well, I tell you what, you're failing miserably. You're failing fucking miserably by coming after this foreign diplomat. Oh, you're a quasi-judicial? You're a minister of justice? The fuck you are. You're fucking criminals, man, all day long. You don't have a fucking clue what you're doing. That's why crime is up 50% across Canada. Because you're literally a fucking joke. You don't even know what you're doing. Victoria's speaking from personal first-hand experience, or Victoria wouldn't be speaking this way. Let's see here. This means that the Crown does not win or lose, nor does the Crown seek a conviction at all costs. At the same time, the clowns must be strong and effective advocates. For what? The color of law? The fucking witchcraft that you're practicing? Is that what you're talking about here? The adversarial process. Okay, right there, you're fucked. Because that's a charter breach. All men and women have the right to peaceful association and peaceful assembly. So if you're a fucking adversarial process, you've already fucked yourselves. That's why you need consent to move a matter. That's why you need fucking consent. And here's the problem with what you're doing. You can't. You can't do that. You can't do what you're doing. A corporation can't lawfully engage in the practice of law. But you're not practicing law anyway. Nor can it do so indirectly through the employment of qualified liars. 2 witnesses against you right there. That you can't do that. You're fucking vagrants, man. You're pathogens. You need help. Because remember, fundamental freedoms, peaceful assembly and association. So how the fuck are you being adversarial then? So you're just going to fucking completely breach charter rights all day, every day. Public interest. No. No public interest, however compelling, can warrant the prosecution of an individual if there is no prospect of conviction. Well, we absolutely know that there's no prospect of conviction in what you're trying to do to this woman, because this woman knows that she's like beyond innocent of these ridiculous, fucking frivolous, vexatious, fucking laughable, scandalous accusations. And here's first and foremost, Victoria's a foreign diplomat, so you have no jurisdiction at all. And here's the other problem with what you're doing. You can't, because Victoria has proven beyond all reasonable doubt that herself and her family have been subjected to systemic fucking discrimination. And you're the ones doing the discriminating. Oh, here it gets even better. So do you notice everything they deal with is dead? Everything they deal with is dead. Right? They don't deal with living men and women. They don't deal with common law. Oh, and what the fuck is this? So you don't represent the police or the victim? Oh, that's complete and utter bullshit, because on Thursday and every other time that Victoria's been forced into this fucking garbage, Victoria hears these clowns represent both the fucking pathogens acting as police and these fucking alleged victims. Like this fucking compulsive lying lunatic impersonating a landlord of Jack and Victoria's stolen home. You fucking are very much representing these fucking criminals acting as plaith. And this other fucking puke who's been calling the Vic PD to fucking lie. So why would you continue to lie? And here's the other problem. We've got some jokers acting as justices of the peace who are involved in disturbing the peace. Every time they fucking sign any kind of document that's coming with Victoria's name on it, because these fucking pukes are retaliating and intimidating this woman, they're torturing this woman, they are guilty beyond all reasonable doubt of disturbing the peace. And the other thing is, if you don't have any fucking first-hand knowledge of why you're signing those documents or what's actually going on, you don't have any authority to do that. Courts, police, crowns, all private crown corporations. They're not government, so they, this is why they're completely fucking lawless. These are corporations. All of them are. Constable, right? Constitution. Fucking conditions. These are your conditions, Victoria. Oh, really? Well, conditions are a contract. And the defense counsel, well, Victoria had to listen to the lies that were told to her on Thursday by all three of these individuals, these persons. All three of them are lying to Victoria. And I'm listening, thinking, well, all of your assumptions and presumptions are rebutted. Like all of your assumptions and presumptions that I don't know my rights and we don't know what's going on are rebutted. Because look what you're doing, you're fucking doing it again. A severe condemnation. Yeah, you're abominations is what you are. You're a joke, you just proved it again. There's no contract with these corporations. The living men and women cannot fucking contract with a corporation. No fully formed consent to be governed by a foreign de facto illegitimate private for-profit crown corporation or its agents. No written power of attorney granted to administer ourselves or our property. The contract is what makes the law. Where there is truth, all fiction ceases. When the major is present, all minor powers cease. Well, the truth is major. Like equity is not going to aid a volunteer. Victoria doesn't volunteer. I mean, haven't we just learned all of this? Equity will not allow a statute to be used for a cloak for fraud. They're using statute to cover up their fraud. They're coming after an innocent foreign diplomat. These provincial courts have no inherent jurisdiction at all. None. They've got no lawful authority. They're operating outside of the law as private contractors dealing in securities and other financial instruments while holding absolutely no oath whatsoever that are lawful or legal, in fact. Acts are not law. Statutes are subject to the consent of we, the men and women. That's the same as policing. If we, the men and women, do not give you our consent, if you fucking go ahead and make that move, your employment is immediately terminated. So whoever the fuck was at this store last Thursday, we are going to find out who you are, and we are going to find out which fucking pathogenic detachment that you're an agent for, and you will be receiving a letter of termination of employment. Victoria told you no. She said, no, thanks for coming. We're good here. You're committing a crime, and if you open that fucking door, you will definitely be committing a crime. Because we don't have a contract with you, and we have told you that now consistently and repeatedly, because in Canada, which doesn't fucking exist, it's a corporation, you fucking maggots are all supposed to recognize the principle of the supremacy of the rule of law, which is the law of consent. Because this, what you've fucking dragged Victoria into, that's not a judicial fucking proceeding. This is an administrative fucking court, and this is a commercial fucking transaction. Without consent, there's no contract. Because contract is the law. That can acquire force only by consent. How many more fucking times do you need to hear the same fucking thing? Because I'm sick and tired of saying it. Perjurers are the fucking pathogens, acting as the police and the crown council. False in one, false in everything. It's a legal principle that a witness who falsely testifies about one matter is not credible to testify in any matter. So now 3 fucking times you've had these parasites impersonating, well, they're representing the fucking agents here of these public services, these private for-profit corporations, and they're representing this liar impersonating Jack and I. That's who they're fucking, and lying about everything. So what's void? Well, a contract is not legally binding and cannot be enforced by either party because they're entered into under duress, they involve illegal activities, and they're contrary to public policy. Well, boom, right there. Thursday, Victoria's under duress. It's the whole fucking thing, the whole contract is involving illegal activities. And you can't fucking break the law. Breaking the law is against public policy. Breaking the fucking law is contrary to public policy. What the fuck don't you understand about that? Okay, so which one of you fucking maggots over here acting as fucking policy enforcement for the criminal organization Corporation District of Saanich is filing false reports because Victoria heard it for 20 minutes on Thursday? Well, all that you've got written down there, all that you've said. So what you've done is you are now doing to Victoria what she must do to you. But you see, Victoria's innocent in all of this. And Victoria knows that you're all criminals. So it's Victoria's job, as a righteous woman, as a blessing to the community, to make sure you criminals are held to account. And yet you've now flipped this all back onto Victoria. And we heard all about it. You're talking about this woman behind her back. You're conspiring to unalive this woman. You're conspiring to put this woman in jail. You're conspiring to completely fucking destroy this woman's life. Well, you've already done that. Why would you do that? Is that because you're mentally sick and you need to seek some professional help? Because when you're going around consistently and repeatedly causing harm to an innocent woman, that's proof that you're high-risk offenders and that you keep repeating your offenses. You just keep repeating the same fucking shit that you've been doing to my family for years. Oh, this is cute. Let's get into this. The fucking Canadian legal system. Charges are not laid by the victim in Canada, which is absolute fucking utter bullshit because it's only the victim who could actually move the court. Create the court, move the court. So instead, the pathogens charge the defendant? Fuck off. Oh, and the Crown makes these decisions, do they? And does the Crown have any first-hand knowledge of what's going on here? And does the fucking pig, the pathogen, do they have any first-hand knowledge of what's going on here unless they've witnessed something? That's a no. That's a hard no. So as such, the alleged victims are not able to directly drop charges. Well, aren't you supposed to be letting the victim participate? Because that's what we've read in these other fucking acts that you've got going on here. But you don't want to fucking follow that either. So you actually have nothing to fucking do with victim services at all, and you fucking claim to be the criminal justice system? Yeah, you see, humans are monsters. This is why Daniel 12:10 says that the wicked understand nothing, because you can see what they've got going on here. It's just absolutely fucking ridiculous. Statutes. Statutes are not law. To be convicted under a statute, the man or the woman has to give the consent, because statutes aren't law, and you've got fucking repeated cases that say the same thing. A code is not a law. A concurrent or joint resolution of the legislature is not law. Supreme Court decision. The common law is the real law, the supreme law of the land. That's right. Thank you. We know that. Thank you for confirming what we already know to be true. Codes, rules, regulations, policies, and statutes aren't the law. Yeah, that's right. Conditions. Okay, so conditions are a contract. They're trying to contract with this woman to commit crime against herself and her family. This is now the third fucking time. These fucking conditions are just like, you have to be fucking joking. Like, there's no way. Okay, so the first time they did this, they tried to put an innocent woman on bail. Well, bail is the punishment for guilt. So again, you've got denial of due process. Again, they're fucking lying about that you're innocent until proven guilty. Obviously, that's all a fucking lie. Otherwise, why the fuck would you try to put an innocent woman, a foreign diplomat, on fucking probation? You can't fucking do that until these absolutely fucking ridiculous, fucking meritless, bullshit fucking charges are proven to be true. And you didn't have warrants on the 29th of August, and you didn't witness Victoria committing a crime. What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh, Victoria's not allowed to have weapons? Victoria's not allowed to go near her home. Now, why would that be? So there's been 3 females who have involved themselves in this conspiracy to deprive Victoria her fundamental rights under the color of law. 3 of them. Now, do any 3 of these females have any first-hand knowledge of what's going on here? They don't, so they don't have any jurisdiction. And Victoria's a foreign diplomat, so right there, you don't have, not subject matter, not personal. So what are you doing? Why are you involving yourselves in these hate crimes? Ignorance of the situation, it can't absolve you. That's ridiculous. This is why fucking Canada is just a complete fucking utter mess. Well, you've published your lies. We can all see it right here. This is fucking public paperwork. You're fucking doing it again. This is a malicious prosecution. When the fucking parasites and the clowns cause criminal charges to be filed against this woman when they know reasonable and probable cause is lacking, and the charges are filed because of malice, personal animosity, bias, or some other reason outside the interests of justice. Well, that's what they're doing. Here's the paperwork from August. Now, the U.S. courts and the Canadian courts are almost identical. Right, so because they're writing this down, this is like a violation. It's a violation of Section 163 of the Criminal Code. And, just like in the U.S., as in Canada, there are no judicial courts, and there haven't been for a very long time. Judges do not enforce statutes and codes. Executive administrators enforce statutes and codes. There have not been any judges since hundreds of years ago. They're just administrators. So this individual here, this female, who has decided to self-determine itself as honorable, you can't hold that title. You're not a judge. You're an administrative clerk. This is a code here. Code's not law. We just went over that. Malicious prosecution. Malice is the form of the improper purpose. Yeah, it's this, and this is pure hatred. It's not even malice. It's way past that. It's literally pure hatred, and it's a charter breach. Victoria has the right to life, to freedom, and to security, and they're just, and I mean, it's the worst violation you could ever imagine. Well, here it is right here. Consequences for noncompliance unless you have lawful excuses. So Victoria has consistently and repeatedly, since September the 4th, provided for these fucking monsters who can't fucking see, who can't fucking hear, who have no heart, right? It's a monster. It's like a fucking zombie. And it makes up this beast that's doing business as the government. She's keeps saying the same fucking thing. You have to fucking stop it. Oh, here we go. So here's from September the 5th. Because Victoria absolutely knows they have no authority, they have no jurisdiction, they can't move the matter forward, they fucked themselves. Victoria is under no obligation whatsoever to attend these satanic rituals. She's under no obligation at all. Because it's a crime of fraud to conceal fraud. Okay, so this clerk of the court, unless this fucking thing here has any first-hand knowledge of what this is about, don't you ever fucking sign paperwork with a foreign diplomat's name on it. Unless you know, because what you've done is you've disturbed the peace. And you've also aided and abetted a hate crime, a war crime. That's what you've done here. You are included now as guilty in the torture of a foreign diplomat. You've violated Section 12 of it's a charter breach. You are treating this innocent woman cruelly and unusually. And why? Why would you do that? Because of hatred. So all arrests in the ens legis jurisdictional, juridical creature of statute, names are criminal. So they're the criminals. They're the criminals. It's an assault and battery. It's a kidnapping. Statutes aren't law. We have to give our consent. We're policed by consent. We're governed by consent. It's right here in the Court of Appeal in Alberta. The police were not executing their duty when arresting under an erroneous interpretation of a statute. I would not interpret police duties and powers as extending to the enforcement of non-existent law. I would not extend the duties to embrace actions taken in ignorance of the law, and ignorance which does not excuse the citizen and should not protect the pathogens acting as fucking police. The statute is unique because only public officials can violate the provisions. These officials are held in public trust and know a fiduciary duty to the people they represent. The high standard of conduct demanded of public officers, coupled with the broad sweeping language of the statute, permits no other interpretation as to its intent and meaning. What the fuck are they doing and why do they keep doing it? Right, so on June the 2nd, Dean Duthie was informed on different public platforms that the warrant that you've got, which would have been issued on December the 19th, yeah, Victoria is the only woman with the power, the inherent power to cancel that warrant. Victoria doesn't give her power of attorney away. Victoria doesn't give her inherent power to anyone else. And we informed you that Victoria is a foreign diplomat, that she will not be governed or be forced to be subjected or under subjection of criminals guilty of conspiracy and perjury. Victoria is bound by common law to protect her life and her property. Her rights are her property. Her common law rights are her property. And Victoria Ann rebuts every presumption and every presumption that every single federal, provincial, and municipal public servant holds, because you all fucking rule. You all use presumption and assumption to commit coercive control. Because what you're doing is committing common nuisance, and you're doing it all the time. Because you're narcissist and you live in this filthy fucking fascist flock fantasy world, thinking that you're, well, you're fucking so arrogant. You're unteachable. You're liars, man. Manipulators, you're gaslighters, you're blame shifters. Well, we just fucking heard it for 20 minutes last Thursday. And you're gossipers. We just heard that about you last Thursday for 20 fucking minutes. Basically, they're straight up garbage and can't take accountability. You are fucking straight up garbage and you know it. Common nuisance. That's what you're doing. Every time you follow Victoria around, every time you fucking come and commit a criminal harassment against Victoria, wherever she may be located, you are guilty of common nuisance. You are obstructing the public in their exercise and enjoyment of every single right that they have common, wherever wherever you're fucking attacking Victoria. Oh, and here we have Nick Murray. Because Victoria knows that none of you have any authority. So what's Nick Murray doing here? And what is this fucking judicial justice? You're not a judicial justice. Grow up. Everything in the box isn't on the page. Remember that. So this is this fucking high-risk repeat offender, Nick Murray, doing it again. So they're premeditating a break and enter, an assault with deadly weapons, kidnapping, unlawful confinement, and that's last November. November the 15th, they're doing this. So here's all the crimes they've committed. Break and enter, common assault, assault causing bodily harm, kidnapping and unlawful confinement, unlawfully in a dwelling, possession of break-in instruments. So it's Section 22 of the Criminal Code, where these pathogens counsel other pathogens to be parties to offenses, and the others then are afterwards a party to that offense. The person who counseled is a party to that offense, notwithstanding that the offense was committed in a way different from which that was counseled. So all these judicial justices and these court clerks, they're all partaking in all of these crimes. And it doesn't matter if they know or not. Like, you can't be ignorant. If you don't have any first-hand knowledge of what's going on here, then you need to keep your fucking names off these documents. Can you sue someone for lying? Well, what they're doing, it's called fraudulent misrepresentation. They're fraudulently misrepresenting what's actually going on here. They're the fucking criminals. Wrong. To injure, to treat with injustice, deprive of some right, to withhold some act of justice from. We wrong a man when we defraud him and when we trespass on his property. We wrong a man when we neglect to pay him his due. To do injustice. To impute evil unjustly. If you suppose me capable of a base act, you wrong me. So again, on Thursday, Victoria heard that the schizophrenics and the retards here are trying to accuse Victoria of having some kind of mental defect, because they have to shift the blame off of themselves to completely defile the Victoria. I'm not new to this game. I'm not new to this game at all. So here we go. We've got December the 12th, right? They've done it again. They've fucking come and... So here up here, look at this. Canada is a corporation and province of British Columbia is a corporation. Those are two different corporations. Here we've got fraud on the court, police file numbers, fraud on the court, court file numbers, fraud on the court. Victoria knows what's going on here. Victoria has not consented to this. That's why she signs everything with Vico Actus, because she's under duress. She's being threatened and coerced and violently fucking violated. And she won't consent. And those who do not disprove, approve. So if this woman doesn't disprove, then she's approved, and she will not approve. So then she must continue to disprove, because she will not commit crimes against herself or her family, or the one she serves and worships. There's only one to worship and serve. So they can't contract with this woman because it doesn't meet the elements of a contract, right? So when's a contract null and void? Well, duress and undue influence. So, like, they can't keep doing this. A situation where a woman is pressured into signing a document they would not have signed without that pressure. That's right. If one is coerced into signing through threats and manipulation. Well, yes, you should have heard. You should have heard the shit that went down on Thursday. That if I don't show up on Wednesday, and I can't show up on Wednesday, not only am I going to fucking jail, but they are going to proceed to railroad me without my presence, without my input, without having the lawful right to defend these absolutely fucking ridiculous accusations. So let's look at some more reasons of why Victoria can't be there on Wednesday. Ignorance of the law, Section 19 of the Criminal Code. Perjury, Section 131. Fabricating evidence, Section 137. Immoral theatrical performance, 167. Public incitement of hatred, 319. 380, fraud. Those are criminal code sections. Now, 3 times Victoria has been subjected to immoral theatrical performances. Last August, last November, and now fucking just again last Thursday. You should have fucking heard this shit. So this is what happened here. This was June the 12th. And now I am severely injured. My right hand is still... So anyway, at this point, I can barely use the instrument to draw. And it's signed again, Vicoactus, under duress. And what that says there, and I know it's hard to read, but what it says there is void. It says void, because it is void. It's void of any fucking consideration. It's void of law and justice. It's void of fucking just common fucking sense. It's just void. And I will not be partaking. You're not going to fucking threaten me to put me in fucking jail and fucking railroad me. You don't have any jurisdiction. You don't even fucking know what's going on. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're being referred to as her worship? Wow. And you don't even understand how disgusting and wrong that is, do you? Oh, no. Law maxims are the law. You're not getting around them, just like you're not getting around common law. Where there is no authority to enforce, there is no necessity to obey. You have absolutely no authority to enforce anything upon this woman. Therefore, this woman has no necessity to obey. And to an administrative clerk who exceeds their office, no obedience is due. They who perjure to preserving the words of an oath deceive the ears of those who receive it. Wrongful intention is presumed against one engaged in an unlawful act. That's what you're doing. Because Victoria has the inalienable right to self-preservation, and that's to protect herself from harm. And it's a basic instinct. So Victoria has a basic instinct to tell you to take that fucking invitation and shove it. Because what we're going to do here, we're going to make sure that everybody knows that on Wednesday, Victoria won't be partaking in your satanic ritual. And Victoria, if you're going to even fucking bother getting a warrant, Victoria will have it fucking canceled the same day. It will be scanned. It will be sent to Victoria. Victoria will print it out. She will cancel it herself. And we're going to send it to this Nikki Sharma, who's pretending to be the BC Attorney General. The Deputy Premier. That's Nikki's pretending to be those offices. So this is, the date says June the 18th. So it's actually canceled before you've even gone in there. It's already canceled. So there's no point in you fucking, because what you don't want to do is have another clerk of the court put their fucking name on these hate crime documents. On this public incitement of fucking hatred. On this defamatory libel. You don't want any more court clerks to be involved in your fucking ugliness. You just don't. Isn't that right, Nick Murray? And the reason why you don't have any, the warrants canceled, because you don't have any jurisdiction, and you don't. Because it's like the charges are withdrawn. Every one of them is withdrawn. It's closed because you're frauds. You're false in everything. False in one, false in all. Conversion is an international tort crime. Victoria is not a person. And if Victoria is not a person, then she can't be a person. Victoria is not a corporation. We don't live in that fucking world of the Walking Dead, of the zombie. You don't have any contract. You don't have any power of attorney. You don't have any consent. Victoria has no obligation to perform for you because contract makes the law. And you're all private crown corporations, and you don't work for men and women anyway. You're there to fucking worship Mammon. And you're sick. Canada's a corporation. You can't lawfully engage in the practice of law, nor can you do so indirectly through the employment of fucking parasites and pathogens. right? Iona Campanola, she told everybody. She removed herself from liability. She admitted that she doesn't sign any laws or any fucking legal rules, and neither does anybody else who she represents. Why? Because those legal rules are repugnant to the common law. So we could go search around, but what you're going to find is Victoria and Saanich Police Associations and Court Services of British Columbia are all corporations. And we just found out they cannot practice law nor hire anything to do that for them. They can't. Like, it's just so wrong. Like, how the fuck do you, like, it's breach of trust. It's impersonation. They're impersonating peace officers. They're not fucking peace officers. They're the fucking Black Plague. It's against the criminal code to pretend to be a person. We're men and women. Like, what are you doing? What is wrong with you? Excuse me? You can't, no, we can't have that. No. The province of British Columbia is a legal fiction corporation, has no standing in common law, therefore cannot be represented by any person in any matter whatsoever. So we're not sure why it is that you believe that you have that right for a annual pay? You should be ashamed of yourself. You should just be fucking ashamed of yourself. Oh, you're currently acting, are you? You're an actor? You're an actor. You're an office holder. Okay. Well, because you're violent, right? Liars are violent. That's all they know how to do, is just fucking be disgusting and violent. You plan brutal crimes. Your lying words cut like a sharp razor. All day long, your tongues devise injustice. Your tongue makes up threats like a sharp razor. You're masters of deceit. You make plans to ruin others. Your tongues are like a sharp razor. You're always inventing lies. Well, we just heard it again on Thursday. And you're getting worse. You're getting worse like fucking monsters do. Monsters don't get better. Monsters get worse. You unleash your mouth for evil and harness your tongue for deceit. You know, our people's souls are among the savages. Literally fucking brainless beasts. Teeth are sharp razors and arrows. Tongue sharp swords. That's why you don't tell lies. Well, you wouldn't understand that anyway. You don't understand anything. Monsters. And when you figure no one can hear you. Oh yeah, no, you're being heard. What you fucking don't understand is that everything is on the record. Yeah, you're not gonna be inside. We can tell you that right now. Those who devise evil in their hearts stir up war every day. These are war criminals. They don't know the way of peace. So that's a charter breach. Everyone has the right to peaceful association and peaceful assembly. Did I just not prove it to you? That they have nothing to do with peace? Victoria has the right to peace. That's why she won't be there. Because what Victoria knows about these benchers is that they hate Victoria and her family, and that they will never afford her due process. Or even listen. They're not there to listen to living men and women. They can only deal with the dead. And we are the living. So no one is safe when these pathogens when the pathogens are around. Everything they do is unjust. They follow a crooked path, and no one who walks in that path is safe. So Victoria has to protect her life, and her right to life, and her right to health. And she can't do that if she's continually being forced into, well, it's useless. Like, there's no point to it. And Victoria's time is precious, and she's not going to waste her time. The path of peace they do not know. There's no justice in their course. No, not even close. They don't know the way of peace. They don't know where to find peace or what it means to be just and good. Well, that's who Victoria's dealing with. They have no desire for peace and neither seek it nor ensue it. Peace can only be obtained through righteousness. You honestly believe that the wicked could ever obtain peace? They can't. They don't have a clue. There's no judgment in their going, rather no justice. No recognition of other men's rights. No endeavor to observe right in their own acts and proceedings. They're crooked. They're crooked paths. They're cursed. They don't understand what life and life abundantly more it is. They're just, we can't. We just can't, and we won't. Well, so here's what you need to know about these pathogens. They don't work for you. You can't trust them. They're not here to protect you or your life or your property, even though that's what it says in the BC Police Act. And if you do comply, and you can't, like, listen, they're pathological liars. Seriously, like as a whole. On the whole, they're pathological liars. Believe nothing that they tell you. Defending yourself against an initiator of violence is a use of force. You do have that right. Initiating violence against someone else is a wrong. You do not have that right. So that's what happened again, for the third fucking time within 10 months. These pukes initiating violence against this woman, and it is a wrong. Because they're domestic terrorists. They're violent extremists. August 29th, November 20th, June 12th. That's exactly what was there. Humiliating, degrading, abusing. So this is under my chin. I am black and blue from head to toe. I'm black and blue from head to toe. So, and the pictures don't even do the damage justice. Like, the pictures couldn't do the damage justice. But this is just... So I can barely use my right hand. I continually asked for medical, help on Thursday. So my back is all bruised. They had me down on the ground. Well, I'm a woman in my 50s. Not that it does matter, but it doesn't matter. But, but it does matter because, why would you attack an elder? So my back is all bruised. One of these fucking pukes had me down on the ground with his fucking full weight on my back. You can't really see the bruises, but I'm all fucking cut up and marked up. So the picture on the left is my right leg, and again, the picture doesn't do all the bruising justice. And then on the right is my left hip. And I am just fucking bruised right the fuck. And then my feet are this is my left foot, it's all chewed up because when they kidnapped me after they violently assaulted me, after I told them no, they then wouldn't even let me put on a pair of shoes, which is just fucking absolutely ridiculous. So then, of course, they're not going to bring me back to where they kidnapped me from, and I had no shoes. So they ended up giving me, something that didn't fit at all and was very uncomfortable. And I certainly didn't feel safe. At the time of night it was. And I had just been, I was shaking. I was freezing cold. I hadn't eaten or had anything to drink all day. And they could just fucking care less. Just fucking see ya. Here's your fucking paperwork and fucking, Yeah, no thanks. No, so I guess tomorrow we'll be making sure everybody gets it. Well, they're listening, right? We found out on Thursday that they are absolutely fucking obsessed. They are fucking obsessed with this woman. Obsessed with her. They're listening. You might be listening, but you haven't learned a fucking thing. Do you understand what's going on Wednesday? These allegations are withdrawn, okay? So what Victoria needs to do is she needs to find out who has been going in there and obtaining warrants. Because you're guilty of a war crime, you're guilty of torture, you're guilty of mischief causing danger to life. You're publishing obscene material. You're trying to force Victoria into a fucking immoral, theatrical fucking performance. And it's not happening. Okay? You see this right here? Even before you get the fucking thing, it's already canceled. Well, make sure you get a nice fucking look right there. Do you see that right there? It's fucking over. It's canceled. Fuck off.